Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I'm in my AMG GTS and I've had it 12 months now and still haven't learned how to put it in drive yet. That's the one. Go away, Drake, I'm not in the mood for you. I'm just behind one of those Audi e-trons that's got no wing mirrors. They look so odd. That is just technology for technology's sake. Anyway, I thought today I'll talk you through what it's been like to own for 12 months and how much it's cost me. Before I get onto that, I just want to say a big thank you because we've just hit 250,000 subscribers on the channel. It's mind-blowing. 250,000 people are subscribed to High Peak Autos. I started this channel 4 years ago just as a hobby. I was so depressed and fed up with my repetitive job and life, I needed a bit of an escape. I also thought it'd be quite good to share with you some of my used car buying experience and knowledge. But I really never expected it to take off like this, so I truly appreciate it. Thank you. I also want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. Surfshark are a VPN service provider, so they help to keep you safe while you're online, whether you're doing online shopping, online banking, or just surfing the web. Do people still say that? I've not heard that for about 20 years. Surfing the web. It protects all your data and your details, and it hides your IP address, so cyber thieves can't view it. It's also handy if you watch lots of streaming sites such as Netflix. You know how sometimes your favourite TV show or film isn't available in your region? Well, with Surfshark you can change your location settings so that it thinks you're in a different territory, and then all of a sudden you can watch it. That's what I mainly use Surfshark for, to be honest, especially when I'm in Spain. In addition to that, it blocks malware, phishing, ads and other kinds of nastiness, which in turn can speed up your bandwidth and make your device run much more smoothly. You can download the app very easily from the App Store and you can use it on an unlimited number of devices. It's cheap and easy to use. We're all online a huge amount of time these days, so you just don't know how much information you're putting out there, so it's better to be protected. Especially if you frequently use public Wi-Fi spots such as at fast food restaurants, train stations, airports, that sort of thing. If you click the link below, which is surfshark.deals/highpeakautos and use the promo code highpeakautos, you'll get 83% off and 3 months totally free. And we're talking a couple of quid a month here, so it's not a big expensive commitment. So if you do lots of online shopping, online banking, or you just want to watch your favourite film or TV show while you're on holiday, then check it out. Right, back to the old AMG. Firstly then, the thing you're probably most interested in are the costs. Now, this is a 198 mile an hour sports car. I never like to call it a supercar because it always sounds a bit pretentious. What's a supercar? I don't quite know. I think this is, but I don't like to call it that. It's very rare, it's technically mid-engined, and it'll do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, so it is firmly in supercar territory. Because of that, you'd expect the running costs to be crippling, wouldn't you? Absolutely ruinous. So did I. But, have I got news for you? They're not that bad. Firstly then, one of those costs you can't escape here in the UK is the road tax, or the vehicle excise duty. Most people know it as road tax. Anyway, you'd expect this to be in the highest bracket, wouldn't you? Well, it isn't. It only costs £360 a year. Which is exactly the same figure as the 2004 Suzuki Vitara that I filmed with recently. Just doesn't make sense, does it? It just goes to show the UK car taxation system just isn't very well thought out. We're on the bypass, so I may as well do the old bypass test. It's been a while since I've been in this. Oh, there we go. Sport Plus. You've got to be on your toes with this car all the time. It's such a live wire. Right, even I bottle that a little bit. It's cold outside, it's wet, and I'm in a 510 rear wheel drive sports car, so I think I'll take it a little bit easy. Pop it back into comfort. So you've got the road tax at £360. The next cost is the insurance. Whoa, look at this. I'm being overtaken by a Ford KA. Now I have a trade insurance policy which covers me to drive any car, so there's actually no additional cost for this. But don't be too envious about that because it cost me about £6 a year. Anyway, for me personally, the insurance on this car is nada. Nothing. No extra. Although they did insist I fitted a tracker. Now that cost me £13 a month for the subscription. The next thing are the repairs. You'd expect eye-watering repair bills for this, wouldn't you? Well, there weren't any. It has been totally reliable. Then of course you've got the servicing costs. Well, there weren't any of those either. Not since I bought it anyway. When I bought it, I had a full engine service, gearbox service, diff service, tyres, all that sort of stuff. But since then, I haven't spent a penny on it. The other big cost you've got is fuel. Now under the bonnet sits a 4-litre twin turbocharged V8. They've pushed it back a little bit behind the front axle for better weight distribution. You'd think something that sounded like this would be very thirsty, wouldn't you? Oh yes. You'd expect this to drink like a Geordie girl and a hen do, wouldn't you? Well, it doesn't really. It does about 19, 20 miles per gallon round town. On a long, steady run, like my trip to Paris that I did last summer, it did about 29, 30 miles per gallon. So it really isn't bad. Okay, granted, I'm not going to get a thank you card from Greta, but it isn't shocking. I've just had it MOT'd and it's sailed through its test, and I've done 4,426 miles in the last 12 months. I went online and found one of those fuel cost calculators just to work out how much those 4,426 miles had cost me in juice, and it worked out to be about £1,475, which for a 200 mile an hour AMG car isn't that bad, is it? Let's keep a running commentary then. We've got the tax at £360, the fuel at £14.75, the MOT at £40, although my mechanic didn't actually charge me because it was my own personal car. I got that free of charge. The tracker at £13 a month. That's it. There was a recall done back in the summer on a drive shaft. It had a very noisy drive shaft. Every time you'd go above 60 miles an hour, you just hear it droning away. Mercedes replaced that free of charge. So the total cost to run this car for 12 months has been £1,991. I suppose something else to take into account is the depreciation. Now, we are living in strange times. The used car market is all over the place, and this car in 12 months hasn't dropped a penny. It hasn't increased in value like it would have done the previous year, but it hasn't dropped any either. I don't want to sound delusional now, but they're such rare cars, these. I can't see them taking the tumble that most cars do. I can't see them dropping much below the 50 grand mark. I've had this for sale for the last couple of months, but I've actually taken it off the net and decided to keep it. I'll explain why. I was trying to buy a house for myself rather than one to let out. My mortgage broker advised that I clean up my own personal affairs, and this was one of those cars that I needed to tidy up, really. Selling this would have meant that I was a better proposition to more lenders, and I'd have probably got a slightly more favourable rate. Anyway, tough luck, I've decided to keep it, so it is now off the net. It's been a couple of weeks since I was last in this, and every time you get in it, you forget what a thrill it is. That's the thing with this car, it just makes you feel like a rock star. It gets attention, people come up to you and ask you about it. You can't put fuel in it at a petrol station without somebody asking you, "Where'd you get your car from?" This car! People's heads turn, even people who aren't interested in cars. Also, I think one of the best things about it is that it's truly usable. It doesn't have a ridiculously low front spoiler that you're constantly ripping off at every curb. It isn't a Gallardo or a Huracan. I've got heated memory seats, 2 cup holders, an armrest, blind spot monitoring system, a decent sized boot. It is a genuinely usable supercar. Okay, the ride's a bit firm, but then I've just come out of a full-size Range Rover, so anything would be. The back end's a little bit fidgety, and the steering is quite twitchy. I think that's about it. There are no real negatives. And what's interesting is that as we're being forced into EVs, I think this kind of car will be remembered as the high watermark of the conventional car. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. If you've got any comments or questions, let me know below and I'll do my best to get back to you. And yeah, once again, thank you for 250k. I really appreciate it. Cheers guys, see you next time.